let's start off with the Baby Driver review. So I saw Baby Driver,
And I did not.
and I have to say I absolutely love the film.
Okay.
It's my second favorite movie this year, just behind Get Out, and yeah, like it's probably one of the best cast I've seen
Right.
in a very long time. Like just from like main leads to supporting cast, like it's just top notch. So
Right.
yeah, so go ahead and ask me.
I'm gonna do something a little bit different here. I'm gonna be asking these questions based off of having only seen the trailers. So I'm gonna tell you guys what I thought of the movie just from the trailers, what I think the movie was gonna do, and Addison here is gonna tell me what I got wrong, what I got right, and essentially just whether it was worth watching. And I can already tell he says yeah, but we're gonna have his take on it. So, as someone that's only seen the trailers, I was kind of interested in this movie, and so I'm probably going to see it after this podcast at some point this week. But we've got a bit of almost an Ocean's 11 vibe, kind of, just because we have like a crew, but also a bit like a more Fast and the Furious because we have this crew. But at the same time, almost everyone except for the main character, Baby, seems to be at odds with him, and they all hate him or are just like, I don't care about you, and we're going to kill you if we have to.
Yeah.
And then they throw in this love interest kind of thing, and from the point of view of someone that doesn't know what's going on, just seen the trailer, it's kind of hard to figure out what the goal of, the overall story of this is. Because we see there's like heists, he wants to get out, he wants to drive away, and he's got this girl. Mm-hmm. And so where does it go from there? And that's not a bad thing or a good thing. I'm just like trying to understand it.
Right.
But honestly, you know what? I'm going to backtrack. I actually think that is a good thing because that's what I want out of a trailer. I don't really want to know anything past, I don't want to see anything from the second act on in the trailer. I want to see only stuff from the first act and the beginning of the second act. Mm-hmm. I don't want to see any scenes from the final fight. I don't want to see anything, like that. And I think from what I saw from this trailer, it delivered on that. It only showed you bits and pieces from the first couple bits and maybe a bit from like the beginning of the third act. Because like there's a scene in the trailers where they have Mike Myers masks, but they have the wrong ones. Actually, that's one of the highlight of the trailer. That is the Mike Myers mask.
That's a hilarious scene.
Because they're like, I told you to get the Halloween masks. And you did. I did. No, Michael Myers. He's like, yeah, I got Mike Myers. And it's
this is Mike Myers.
This is Mike Myers. It's like,
no, the killer dude from the Halloween movie. Oh, you mean Jason?
Oh, you mean Jason?
No.
Yeah, no. I thought that was actually really well done comedy. I was also just wondering why it's in the trailer, because it threw off the feel of the trailer, because this seemed kind of serious actually. This kid's trying to get away from these bad people, and then we suddenly just throw that in there for comic relief. And it also makes me wonder if they threw that in there, and maybe is that the best comedy scene that the film has, and they were just throwing that in there to try to draw people in, and they just kind of wasted that.
I will say no. Yes, I think it might be the best comedy scene where it's just straight beginning to end. It's all set up for a joke. Because the rest of the movie is not a comedy.
Right.
It's an action thriller. But the fact that most of the comedy just comes from how these characters interact with each other. So in at the beginning you said you think everyone hates them. Actually, a lot of people really like Baby. Most of the time, it's just people irritated because they don't understand him because he has tinnitus. So that means he hears a ringing. And
right.
Don't worry, that's not a spoiler. That was in the trailer. And because of this tinnitus, he listens to headphones and he blasts the music to drown out the humming. And a lot of people see that, because there's a scene where the boss, who's played by Kevin Spacey, beautifully. I don't want to say a supporting actor nominee, but I would love to see him get nominated because he was fantastic. So he's going over the plan, and Baby's just listening to his music, and everyone's looking at him all right, hold on, boss, this kid's not listening. And then Kevin Spacey's just Baby, do you want to repeat what I said? And he's just well, we're going to do this, and that, and lays out the entire plan word for word, and it's amazing. And then, people kind of just grow to he's just a good kid because he got caught up with Kevin Spacey. He's kind of paying off his dues, and there are a lot of relationships you actually care about in this film. And they might change at the beginning and the end. You're just like, oh, I don't want to see these two go against each other because like you actually really care about their relationship.
Sure.
And
so you think the film is actually about the development of the relationships between each of the characters?
Yes.
Like these are people that, from what I gather, come together not knowing each other.
Right.
And by the end of it, or along the way, some or all of them actually develop like an interest in each other as friends or more than friends and all that kind of stuff.
Because the way Kevin Spacey runs his business is that he does not hire the same crew once. So
Okay.
like there's a scene where he has Jamie Foxx is in the film,
Right.
and he's with two other kind of like just random guys, right?
Mhm.
So that's one crew, but then at another point it's Jamie Foxx, John Hamm, and Isa Gonzalez. Like, so he might keep one or two people, but the crew is always different. So
yeah.
it's over and interwoven. It's really interesting that way. And yeah, it's more of a character-driven movie. Like the sets are really cool because there's like not a lot of CGI in the film. A lot of it's all like actual.
It's all stunt acting and like car
scenes.
stunts.
Yeah.
So okay, here's a big question though.
Okay.
As someone that enjoyed a few of the Fast and the Furious movies, but wasn't a huge fan of them overall, would you say this movie is just like another Fast and the Furious?
Nope, not even close.
So,
because it's almost not. It's not really about cars.
right?
He's just
He's just a driver.
He's just a driver, and he's really good at it. So it's not like he's not obsessed with cars. He's not anything like that. It's more about music.
Okay.
Because that's his connection to the waitress that he falls in love with, played by Lily James, who you might know her from I think Downton Abbey, and she played Cinderella in the live action movie.
Mm-hmm.
And like their connection is just movie. Like there's a scene where they're talking about like I love music, but I'm not. There's no songs called Deborah. And it's like, well, there's actually two songs called Deborah, and she's like, oh, that's cool, but my sister's name is I don't know, Stacy, and there's like a million songs about Stacy.
Right.
And she's like, oh, what's your name? He's like, my name is Baby. She's like, your name's Baby.
Yeah, B-A-B-Y, baby.
And you think it's going to be like, why is your name Baby? She's like, your name is Baby? Well, that means you win. There's almost every song has a baby in it, so it's like,
right.
So it's just how their connection through music, and like he talks to like different side extras in the movie where. Like one, he's talking to like a bank teller randomly, and they just talk about Dolly Parton, and it's just like it's just how music connects all these different people, and I will say, the soundtrack in this is better than Guardians of the Galaxy. So the soundtrack to this film most of it isn't tailored for the film. A lot of it is actually like I mean like a new soundtrack, like orchestral written for the movie. A lot of it is they take older songs and play them over. Yeah, it's like a lot of the scenes are done to the music. So like it's not just like random music playing in the background. Like Baby will put in the headphones and blast the music, and then that's just the music throughout the scene. And a lot of
it's essentially diegetic music. It's
Yes.
music that's actually in the film.
Yeah.
Similar to how Guardians was with a few of its songs in the first one.
Yeah, and like there's there, I think one of my favorite scenes is right before they do a heist. Like Baby starts a song, and then something happens, and they kind of get slowed up, and they're about to go out, and he's like, "Wait, hold on, I got to start the song over." And he has one of the old fashioned iPods, so you hear the as he's rewinding. He's like, "Okay, now go," and then the music starts, and then that's how the music is going. It's a fun movie.
Okay,
that's all I could really say. Is like my heart was like pumping like during the entire time, like kind of. What you originally got when you watched those Fast and the Furious race scenes in the first couple movies, but in this one it was all like believable, like just seeing how, because I think the actor name is Ansel Elgort, sure,
Ansel
Elgort, sure, Game of Thrones sounding dude. So Baby, I'm just gonna keep calling him Baby,
right?
So like everything he's doing, it's nothing out of like. When you watch Fast and the Furious, you're just like, okay, there is no way anyone will be able to do that. What he's doing is not outside of the realm of like,
And I'm
Oh,
sure,
yeah.
depending on how much of it actually was just like stunt doubles and stunt drivers, that is literally physically possible because the stunt
Exactly.
drivers are doing it.
Yeah, and throughout, it's a very character-driven movie. You can find issues in the plot, but it's not the plot that's driving the movie. It's these characters and it's the relationships. Because, like I said, when you like the relationship between Baby and Buddy, who's played by John Hamm, you actually kind of care about their relationship because it's kind of like a little brother, older brother kind of thing, where it's like there's a huge gap difference in their ages, but once again, music, because like there's this like he comes like there's a scene where he talks to him just like, so what's your like your jam, like what do you do, and you have to play the same song, and he's like, well, it's this song by Queen, I think, and he's like, oh, you have that song? He's like, yeah, I have it on this iPod, because he has like different iPods, and he's like, I have it on this one. He's like, okay, let's listen to it, and they're just sitting there just like bobbing their heads, and they're like kind of singing it together.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and it's just fun how this connection to all these people is music, and that's how it is in real life. Like sometimes you might find someone who's completely different from you, and you're just like, hey, you like this song by Bon Jovi, and you're just like, I love that song, and then boom, there's a connection.
Right. So you'd say that overall, this film, not so much about the driving or the heist and the running away, even though that stuff is all there,
And
the core
is characters.
The core is the characters and the music and like connections between people.
Exactly, because I know Edgar has been in like a lot of like YA movies. You know, I think he did the two kids have cancer, like The Stars Between Us, or
I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name though.
The Fault in Our Stars.
Yeah, The Fault in Our Stars. Oh, good God.
And he's also in the Divergent movie, so you know a lot of people kind of just. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I just looked up his IMDb. Apparently, he's in Dungeons and Dragons, maybe.
Oh, that's neat.
So
I forgot there was going to be a Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Me either. So that's a. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm sorry. Once again, November Criminals. Look at his name. He's playing a character named Madison. Wow. Just
that's neat.
Yeah. Anyways, and he's also in Paper Town. So yeah, he's becoming kind of like the poster boy for these YA stuff. But so I know a lot of people, that's kind of turned a lot of people off. And the name Baby Driver, like I heard someone say like, oh, is this a sequel to Baby Boss? And it's like, no,
please no.
No. Anyways, yeah, he's charming. Like, there's a scene, it's kind of similar to the first scene you see with Star-Lord when he's walking through the cave and he's listening to music. It's kind of the same thing, but it's like a one-shot. And you know me, and if anyone listens, I love one-shot takes in film, because it's like, it takes a lot of work, and that means everyone has to make sure they're doing their job right, to make sure that scene works.
Yeah, because it's a long scene, and to reshoot it costs a lot and takes a lot more time.
And you have to go all the way back to the beginning. So that's why I love the first scene. And he's he's really smart, really relatable. Like I said, this is my second. It's just a little bit behind Get Out. It's just that the ending was a little too fluffy for me. Mm-hmm. I like my scenes to be just a little more more realistic. This one was just a tad fluffy. I'm not going to go into it, but just a little fluffy. So that's what makes it just a little bit behind Get Out. And this is a movie, I will say, because as you guys know, both Zeb and I want to be filmmakers. This is a movie that makes me want to make movies.
Cool.
When you watch, you're just like, this is what I want to do. Because when I watch these big superhero movies, it's like, I love watching them. They're just fun to watch. This is a film that because this is done by Edgar Wright. You know, he did the Cornetto trilogy, the Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and World's End,
At World's End,
World's End, yeah. And Scott Pilgrim too. Like, that's also a really fun film. And he wrote and directed this film. But yeah, when you watch it, you're just like, this is what independent, like an indie filmmaker, when he gets a good budget and a good cast, this is what you get. And makes me want to make movies. It's up there with Looper. Like,
right.
When I love Looper, and that's another film that's like, this is what I want to do. So, and I guess if I had to give it points, I would give it a 4 out of 7 out of 5, a 4.7 out of 5. Like, it's
okay. I thought it was like a 4 or a 7 out of 5.
I got a little.
So either an 80%, 140%, or what?
Yeah, it's weird, but yeah. 4.7 out of 5. Like it's up just a little behind Get Out. You know what? Even tomorrow I might be like, you know what? I like Baby Driver more. You never know. It might change, but right now, it's just phenomenal. Please go see it. I hope it's doing well in the box office. I haven't checked it because sometimes I don't really care about how money is doing because it's killing on Rotten Tomatoes. It's like a 98 maybe, but yeah, go see it. It's so much fun. Yeah, it's a very character driven. Find more plot holes. It's not a lot. It's not a lot of plot holes, but you just you don't care because you're having fun watching it. You're having fun watching these characters interact and how the relationships just change. Because you'll not there are certain characters where you'll be shocked on how their character development goes. It's just a lot of fun. Please go check out Baby Driver. It's a lot of fun. And if you are an inspiring filmmaker, when you watch this, you will be inspired to make more movies. All right. So cool. I think that's where we'll end that segment. So we are going to move on